Moon Mystery is a game that's been on my backlog for a long time. It was advertised to me as Half-Life on the moon, but in all reality, this game is Interstellar The Game. The video game result is some gorgeous scenery, some really satisfying guns, some really bad AI resulting in incredibly mediocre combat, some okay to really neat puzzles, and a story that wants to be Interstellar so bad it just literally is Interstellar. And this is a problem because they try to focus on story and puzzles more than the actual combat. And since it wants to be Interstellar so much, well, the story's pretty bad as a result. Hey, Derek here. I've been wanting to cover this game for a long time. I was hoping I would really enjoy it, and I don't hate it, but for $20, I don't know if I'd recommend it. Let's start with the first really big issue, and that is the optimization. This game does not run well no matter the settings you have set. Putting it at low settings makes it look awful, almost so bad that it looks like a retro game. Largely because that's not even no anti-aliasing, that's negative anti-aliasing. Changing the settings didn't really matter. The game would stutter no matter what you did, and it stuttered hard, in the most annoying way possible. It would continue to read the inputs you were doing as it stuttered, so if you were looking to the right, you're now looking behind you. This happens all the time. It doesn't matter if you're loading into a new zone, so of course it's gonna stutter then. If it was just that, it would be forgivable, but no, it randomly stutters just whenever it feels like. And later on in the game, the frame rate gets worse because the environments get larger. I started with about 140 at the beginning of the game and ended with getting only 40 at the last levels. Thankfully, all the settings you would expect to have are here, except for one thing it's missing. Aim acceleration. Why is aim acceleration in this game, and why can't I turn it off? The combination of the lag, stuttering, and mouse acceleration makes this game so hard to play. Aiming is impossible. I promise you I'm not this bad, it just feels this bad. So yeah, on the technical side, this game's a little bit of a mess. It doesn't necessarily crash, and it is playable, but boy, there's a lot of fixing they could have done. This game released in 2024 and there's not been an update since 2024, so I think this is just the complete version of the game. Maybe if DLSS was implemented into this game, it would fix this. I don't know. I'm not a game dev. I can't tell you. What I can at least give this game credit for is just how it looks. It's not the most advanced game graphically, but its set pieces look stunning. And almost more importantly, there is a lot of variety in this game. You'll find yourself jumping into wormholes, going to a bunch of different planets that all look very different. It's just a pretty game, man. I found myself sitting there looking off in the distance fairly often. So it's a good thing that this game gives you time to really soak in what it wants to show to you. Yeah, this is not a fast-paced game. This is a game that wants to focus on slower-paced, atmospheric story, which I love. Unfortunately, the story is... oh, it's not good. I'll just put it that way. It's not a good story in this game. It starts out okay. You have a quick combat sequence where you're running away from a black hole devouring the planet you're on. This is pretty fun, just kind of an introduction to the combat. But you find out it's a nightmare and you wake up. You play as Sam, with your AI robot assistant, Toby. You both are stranded on the moon, having lost all contact with Earth. Yeah, I told you, they're trying to ham up Interstellar quite a bit. Trust me, this is not the only connection. Very quickly, you will find out that Earth is being attacked by aliens, as you have got a recording from the general back on Earth. This kicks off a 5-hour or so campaign where you jump from wormhole to wormhole trying to stop the aliens. How do you stop them? Well, by shooting a ton of robots and getting rid of a bunch of blue stuff. This blue stuff is mined from blue rocks, which apparently are a power source that is helping the aliens kill things. They explained it more than this. I forget off the top of my head. It's not really important. You gotta get rid of the blue stuff. You gotta stop the aliens. I'm gonna skip forward from the beginning of the game straight to the end of the game because that's what I really want to talk about, and not a whole lot happens in between there. So if you don't want to be spoiled for both this game and Interstellar, skip to this time code. This is more a warning for Interstellar if you've not seen that movie. Fantastic movie. This game, the story doesn't really matter too much, so you could be spoiled for this game. But if you haven't seen Interstellar, just trust me, skip forward to this time code. They gone? Alright, let's talk about Interstellar a little bit. You know how at the end of that movie, you go into a black hole and you're able to communicate with more or less your past? Yeah, that's literally the same exact ending that happens in this game. You go into the black hole, you yourself send that message that Earth is being overrun, that kicks off the events of you stopping the aliens. So that attack on Earth never actually happened. That was a message to yourself to stop it. It was the only way to motivate yourself to go kick the aliens' ass. Yeah, like I said, it's literally Interstellar. It's the same exact plot, but in slightly different variations with slightly different events. And this really sucks, because the story could have been good. It had the atmosphere, it had the world building, but it didn't have the story itself. It also didn't have the voice acting. The voice acting in this game is really bad, largely because it's very obviously AI. Ignoring the big moral dilemma around that, just to be clear, I don't like AI stuff in my video games, just hire people. It gets more complicated with indie games because they probably don't have money if you're a one-person team or whatever, but still, I would rather hear bad voice acting than obviously AI voice acting. The way AI voices speak is uncanny. It's almost like you're listening to 20 people you recognize all at the same time, not speaking like a human.
At least he gathered enough samples before he fell sick that we could activate the scanning machines.
Toby, I'll teach you empathy one day.
Empathy? Why should I learn empathy?
The Earth looks so tiny I could hold it in my hands.
Statistically, it is probable that there are other civilizations looking at the moon right now and thinking the same.
Was that a part of your fun fact base, Toby?
Couldn't help my data coding.
Something tells me we're gonna find answers in that old base.
I don't think our predecessors did. It's abandoned and out of order.
Have you ever tried to think positive? I thought so. It's so quiet.
Man, they're just blazing through conversations. There's also AI pictures in this game, but they're largely used in the first 5 minutes, so take that as you will. Yeah, this is the biggest thing that's going to take you out of the story. This voice acting is simply not good. Also, it randomly gets louder at points for seemingly no reason. I don't know why this happens.
It's highly probable that the deposits just stood the test of time.
Rocky spent hours researching.
Why are you so loud suddenly?
Poor guy. Hope he's already been provided with proper care.
At least he gathered enough samples before he fell sick.
So, yeah. Story not good. Let's move on to the gameplay. It has to make up for the story, right? No. No, not really. Let me talk about the good first, because this game isn't a total train wreck. It does have things that are good going for it. It's not like I had the worst time of my life playing it. First things first, the guns. The guns in this game are pretty damn good. They're highly detailed, they have good reloading animations, they even have an empty and non-empty reload. Also, they sound great and have good recoil. The guns are just satisfying to use. There's also weapon shops all over in this game, and you can buy whatever you want right away. You get credits in-game for killing enemies or picking it up throughout the environment, and you can unlock the guns in any order you want to. They're all particularly loud and satisfying, especially the pump-action shotgun. Like, love it. Absolutely love it. There's no reason for this to be part of this game. It kind of doesn't really fit the whole interstellar space vibe, but sure, I'm down for it. The next thing I liked, or was indifferent about, were the puzzles. Now, most of these puzzles were passable. Not bad, not great, but good enough. The game certainly liked its move the lasers with the cube puzzles, but none of them were particularly bad. What I classify as a bad puzzle is when you walk into a room and you don't know what the end goal of the puzzle is. Maybe you have to open the door? Maybe you have to use something to open the door? You're not even sure if that's what you're supposed to do. So you kind of just wander around lost, not knowing where the puzzle even is. Those are the puzzles that, when you find the solution, usually after looking at a walkthrough, it makes you say, why the hell would I ever think to do that? This game does not have that problem. When I came across a puzzle, I knew what the final solution was supposed to be. I just had to figure out how to get there, and that's a well done puzzle. Unfortunately, the puzzles in this game weren't particularly deep, so I can't say they're fantastic, great puzzles that are game-changing or anything like that, but they're definitely good enough. There's quite a few different puzzles throughout the game. Some things will show up once and then literally never again. So at least there's variety in the puzzle's sake. One of the puzzles I actually thought was really cool. Not only really cool, but it was a platforming puzzle. Yeah, they managed to make a platforming puzzle really unique. You see, you had to push these buttons to disable the kill barrier below you. But in order to do that, you had to turn off the gravity. Now, you don't have a jetpack or anything like that, so there's no gravity. You can't really move. So this game's solution? Move yourself by shooting your gun. That is so cool. When that clicked with me, I was like, this is one of the coolest things I've done in a long time. Yeah, clever puzzles like that. This game has a few of them. I feel like space as a setting has so many opportunities like this, but stuff like Infinite Warfare totally ruined how gamers look at space first-person shooters, so nobody wants to approach it. So yeah, the puzzles are pretty good, and the game gives you all the time in the world to approach them in any way you want to, so that's fine. But then we get to the actual combat, and it's pretty mediocre. The combat itself really is your standard Xbox 360 era cover shooter, except for not as good. One of the biggest issues is that the AI is incredibly stupid. If you sit far enough back, they don't even really react to you shooting at them, and you can just pick them off a range and then keep walking by. Even if you are right next to them, they're not particularly smart either. There's also not a lot of variety. There's only a few kinds of robots, and that's what you're going to be shooting the entire game. You can tell when there's going to be combat because you walk into an area with a bunch of chest-high walls, and yep, I'm going to shoot some robots here. It's not like they're not satisfying to shoot, they explode in satisfying ways. Their AI just isn't smart enough to capitalize on what they could be, and there needs to be more of them. It's a bit weird because the guns themselves feel fantastic, but the actual enemies are just not. Even when big set pieces pop up that are supposed to be some big moment in the game, the AI totally ruin it. Like this boss, which I'm pretty sure the way you're supposed to beat it is to get behind it and shoot its weak spot, but I just cheesed it because I broke the AI. I didn't know which way to go around these boxes, so I just shot it till it died. Oh, also, the gameplay isn't perfect in the puzzles either. While the puzzles can be pretty decent, you can manage to soft lock yourself. I really get the feeling that it wasn't QA tested the best. Oh, I just soft locked myself. How did that even happen? That is that is awful. Wait, how did it land like that? What? How is that even possible? Truly amazing. Well, shit. Not gonna lie though, that's probably the funniest way I've ever softlocked myself in any game I've ever played. The game does try to break up the monotony of puzzles to shooting the same generic robots over and over by occasionally throwing different vehicle sections at you. These are okay. You might have to get into a very top-heavy vehicle. Physics, I'm fine. It is fine. And drive to a few different nav points like you're playing the second level of Halo. You might have to get into a spaceship and start shooting things that are shooting back at you, or just ignore them and go directly to the nav points and shoot that thing and keep going like I did. This was incredibly short, maybe 5 minutes at the most, and it never came back. You can pilot a submarine, which basically acts the same way, but underwater. Hell, you can pilot the torpedo itself or a guided missile. Yeah, Half-Life 2, these vehicles are not. They're kind of just gimmicks chucked in there that you'll forget about. They're not necessarily frustrating to play, but they're really short, pacing breaks between the combat that don't necessarily make me feel like I was having a ton of fun. Yeah, like I said, a lot of this game is just very okay. That's about it. For $20, you get a okay space first-person shooter. It's mostly fine. Sometimes good, but mostly totally forgettable. Very ambitious, I will give the studio that, but I don't think they necessarily pulled it off the way they wanted to. Would I recommend the game for $20? No, definitely not. Would I recommend it if it goes on sale and you have nothing better to do? Sure, why not? But that's how I feel about Interstellar the Game. Huge thanks goes to my YouTube members. They get to see my videos at least a week early. I keep that very cheap. I want to get back to these guys. They help pay my bills, and I could really use that right now, so it means a lot. And also, they just like watching my content. Like, seriously, I can't say thank you enough. It really does mean a lot that people care to watch this. And if you want to watch more of this, then check out this stuff here. I got a whole playlist of videos just like this one. I got a recommended one over there. You can subscribe on this thing here, or you can join me over on Twitch. I stream every single week. Hope to see you there, and I'll hope to see you next video.